What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we'll be previewing Port Adelaide's 2018 AFL season. A brand new season is upon us. Finally, it's been a long time, and just before we go on, I'd just like to welcome all the listeners to the podcast on the new ThePear podcast on Port Fan Radio Network. If you're listening to this, welcome. And if you are watching this through YouTube, thank you very much. And tune in to all the podcasts that I do on the Portress podcast and on the ThePear network as well on with Port Fan Radio. The link is in the description below if you'd like to listen to many more of my podcasts, which is basically just videos being transferred into audio. So if you want to listen on the go, that's the way to do it. But let's get straight into this preview for Port Adelaide in season 2018. Let's start off this preview with some big questions that need to be answered, and they will be answered throughout 2018. So the first big one is, how long will it take for the new recruits to settle in and everyone to gel as a team? I think no more than 5 rounds. I mean, they're all experienced players and it won't be a big issue for them. I mean, Tom Rockcliffe coming from Brisbane, Jack Watts coming from Melbourne, and Stephen Motlop coming from Geelong. They're established clubs, and I think they'll know the hard work they have to put into. They know what they've got to do, and it's as simple as that. And from the sounds of words coming from inside is that they're positive. People are really impressed with these new recruits that have come in. Not only those three, with Jack Trengove, Trent McKenzie, Lindsay Thomas, and the others as well. I mean, our club is such a family in a way that these players coming in, they don't need to gel because they just fit in perfectly. And with our open arms, I think it really helps new players come in and really find their feet really early. And I think no more than 2 to 3, 4 games, maybe even the first 5, they might just, find their feet a bit, and then you'll start to see the rhythm of their game really improve and take us to the next step, which is a big question that has to be answered. Will Port Adelaide take the next step up from going 5th on the ladder with 14 wins, which, by the way, I predicted in my first season preview last year. I actually got something right for once. But how much can we take it up to the next step? Can we go with the big guns, with the Crows, the Tigers, GWS, Geelong, all these big teams, Sydney as well? How much will it take to improve to get to those big sides? We bet a couple of them last year, but the tests will come again. And teams like Richmond and Adelaide, who are the grand finalists, I think we need to start beating those teams if we're anywhere near contention for this year. What will it be like against the top 8 teams? As I mentioned, we've got to take that next step. What will it be like? Got no idea, to be honest. Can't predict it this year, Port fans. It's really it's a real, quote, doozy. I'm unsure as to who, what, where will happen. Who's going to stand up in those games? And our first test is against Geelong at the Adelaide Oval, round 5. Round 2 against the Swans as well, but although we've proven we can do that up there at the SCG. Essendon as well are going to be improving. All these teams around us, Essendon, Melbourne, even teams like Collingwood, they look like they're improving. The Bulldogs as well, St Kilda, all these teams are going to be around the mark, so we have to take that next step above. And basically, this whole season is about moving up the next level. Just how long will it take? Really depends, to be honest. It just really depends on our core players like Robbie Gray, Travis Boak, Chad Wingard, Charlie Dixon, our defenders, how our midfield will work. These new recruits that have come in, it's all going to depend on how long they take to gel. Really finding those strengths. And if Kenny has a game plan in mind that really changes a bit from what we're used to seeing over the last couple of years, just to tweak it and make it more direct, then, we'll improve a lot more than what people are thinking. And a lot of the critics have said, 5th to 8th, maybe top 4. A couple have said premiers, which I'd like to agree with, but I'm not 100% sold on it yet. I'd like to see how we play against the good teams first, and if we're looking like something is going to come out of this year, then I'll start believing. And, I've been having these feelings, Port fans, just to jump off the script. I've been having these feelings. I really feel like this year's something special. Just these signs, like seeing Port Adelaide written on a cardboard box. It's just a sign. It really makes me feel happy that this year is back. The big question as well is, can we take our opportunities against these big teams? Now, goal kicking, accuracy, efficiency going inside 50, and kicking in general needs to be improved. We've seen over the JLT games that somehow we've kicked more goals than points, especially against the Crows where we kicked 16 goals too. Do not know how that happened. But yeah, these big opportunities that we need to take in big moments. Can we stand up? Did it a couple of times last year against St Kilda where we had kicked that amazing goal against Robbie Gray. But there were those moments that we didn't, like against Geelong. And obviously, I think at this first showdown as well, we had the opportunity to win the game. There was a couple of moments that we just didn't take. And I think this year, if we can take those chances, that's a big thing for our team and our club. Because if we can do that, then we, as I keep saying, take that next step, that next level into improving our side and becoming a real force in the AFL once again. The other question I'm going to sign off this little questionnaire that I've got going is, can we go all the way? I think we can if we do all those things. Simple as that. What do you think, Port fans? Comment below. So obviously this is a season preview, so it wouldn't be a preview without some predictions, and we're going to start off with the most important player for Port Adelaide in 2018, and I think there's two. Charlie Dixon and Patrick Ryder. The big ruckman, All-Australian last year, is sensational. If he goes down, I think we're basically screwed. We don't have a set-up ruckman ready to go in the waiting. That's the only issue. We've got a couple of chip-in rucks, but we don't have that set ruckman. Paddy Ryder's our only chance, only big ruckman. So if he goes down, we're in a bit of strife. Charlie Dixon, on the other hand, if he goes down, we are still in some strife, but we do have a couple of players to take those opportunities and really set us up. Todd Marshall, Jack Watts is there, Justin Westhoff can go forward. We've got a couple of others that are in the SANFL team as well with the Maggies. So it's just, they're the most important, and if anything happens to them, then things might get a bit rough. But that's why they have to perform, and if they perform, my God, it's exciting to watch. Next thing, a Brownlow chance. It's just a little thing I thought I'd add. Robbie Gray, I think he always polls votes, so if he kicks some goals, has his 35 possessions in 6-goal games like he did a couple of times last year, no doubt is he going to get some votes. Ollie Wines was a big poll getter last year, and if he gets onto a good run of form, then he definitely might win a chance. If we win a few games, he might definitely get an opportunity to win Big Charlie. Tom Rockcliffe always polls. He was polling at Brisbane, so he may poll at Port, depending on obviously where he plays, how he plays, and all that stuff as well. And Chad Wingard, if he plays midfield more often, getting those 36 possessions and a goal a game, yeah, you might see him poll a couple. He's just that extraordinary player, and as Bruce McAvaney would say, delicious.
And what a delicious young player he is.
Top goal kicker for 2018 Port fans will be Charlie Dixon. As I said, he's the most important player, and I really feel that with Jack Watts coming into the side and opportunities like Justin Westhoff going forward and Robbie Gray down there, they all might work together well, and Charlie might benefit from that. And he will kick 60-plus goals, because I really think he is the next Warren Treadway off our club. The way he moves around, presents, and takes his aggression. But he takes his footy seriously, which is great to see. But he also can have a bit of fun. Now, final prediction. Where will Port Adelaide finish in 2018? I think fourth. Top four is in our grasp this year. And I think that if we do everything I've said, take opportunities, really take those teams that we should beat down, and also take a few scalps along the way, then you definitely see us in the top four. 15 wins. I'm going for one more than last year, and I got last year right, as I said. So if I continue my great predicting form. Final thing that I'll leave you on, Port fans, a key moment that is this year, the first 5 games. They are crucial to Port Adelaide's season, and I think Adelaide Oval against Fremantle, the SCG against the Swans, back at Adelaide Oval against Brisbane, then to Etihad against Essendon, and then Geelong at home for Anzac round. If we can get 4 out of those 5 as wins, we're in a good position going into the second half before our bye. If we can't and we drop a couple, then it's going to be a question mark of whether we can take that next level, as I keep saying. So this year is all about taking that next step, and it all starts round 1 against the Fremantle Dockers. Well, Port fans, that wraps up this season preview for Port Adelaide in 2018. If you are tuning in through Port Fan Radio, thank you very much for listening for the new ThePear podcast. And if, as I said, have not subscribed to the YouTube channel as well. Please click on the subscribe button and tune in for plenty more Port Adelaide content in 2018. I'll be bringing you all reviews, previews of games, as well as discussions on players and the vlogs from every game as well, and also some highlights packages too. So stay tuned for that. Also, the Porches podcast, can't speak, is on 8 PM every Wednesday night. You'll find me on there, so tune in for that and tune in for the boys. We'll be discussing every game as well weekly. If you're doing AFL Fantasy for 2018 and like to take me on this year, the link for the competition is in the comments section below, so click on that, sign up your team and take me on this year. I'm not that good, but we'll see how we go. Thank you very much for watching, Port fans. Tune in for plenty more Port Adelaide content. I'll see you soon. My name's Anthony, and come the pair.